The multiple intelligence. The multiple intelligence advances that in teaching anything, a parent or teacher draw on a child's many intelligences, which are linguistic, logical, mathematical, bodily kinesthetic, spatial, musical, interpersonal, intrapersonal, and naturalist. The theory rejects the idea of central intelligence, rather, as the author says, it subscribes to each his own learning style. Gardner emphasizes that multiple intelligence is originally not an educational theory. It is a theory on how the mind is organized and developed, and he opposed to general intelligence that there is one computer in our brain that determines whether a person will be competent or incompetent at everything. Gardner says, our mind has 7, 8, 9, or even a dozen different computers, and others have better computers than others because of who their parents are, where they live, and how they were trained. Linguistic intelligence. Linguistic intelligence is the ability to use language to excite, please, convince, stimulate, or convey information. The indicators of linguistic intelligence are manifested by persons who ask a lot of questions, particularly why and what if questions, have a good vocabulary, enjoy talking, can spell easily, pick up new language easily, bilingual, trilingual, and etc. Enjoy reading, love stories, jokes, riddles, like to write, and can talk about language skills. Linguistic intelligence can be developed through the use of the following activities, like reading fiction and non-fiction, literary work, newspapers, magazines, reports, biographies, bibliographies, the internet, engaging in storytelling, debates, plays, listening to audio tapes, watching films, writing reports, stories, and speeches. Practitioners who have high linguistic intelligence include novelists, poets, journalists, storytellers, actors, orators, comedians, and politicians. Bodily kinesthetic intelligence. It refers to the ability to use fine and gross motor skills in sports. The performing arts are arts and craft productions. The indicators of this component of multiple intelligence are observed among persons who have a good sense of balance, good eye-hand coordination, have sense of rhythm, graceful in movement, communicate ideas through gestures, body movements, and facial expressions, can read body language, have early ease in manipulating objects and toys, and can solve problems through doing. The following activities develop bodily kinesthetic intelligence are role-playing, dramatization skills, mimes body language, gesture, facial expression, dancing, sports, games, experiments, and laboratory work. Persons who are successful in the following professions have high bodily kinesthetic intelligence, like ballet and folk dancers, choreographers, sculptors, professional athletes, gymnasts, surgeons, calligraphers, jewelers, watchmakers, carpenters, and circus performers. Logical mathematical intelligence. It is the ability to explore patterns, categories, and relationships by manipulating objects or symbols and to experiment controlled orderly ways. The indicators of logical mathematical intelligence are manifested by persons who want to know how things work, interested in if and then logic, oriented towards a rule-based activities, play with numbers, enjoy solving problems, and love to collect and classify objects. Logical mathematical intelligence can be enhanced with the use of the following activities like mazes, puzzles, outlines, matrices, sequences, codes, patterns, logic analogies, timelines, equations, games, formulas, theorems, calculations, computation, syllogisms, and probabilities.
So the next MI that we're going to tackle is the spatial intelligence. So what is spatial intelligence? It is the ability to perceive and mentally manipulate a form or an object, perceive and create tension, balance, and composition in a visual or spatial display. The spatial intelligence, guys, it is also known as visual spatial intelligence or spatial reasoning. So it is the capacity of ones who can imagine or visualize in their minds the positions of objects, their shapes, their spatial relation to one another, and the move they make to form new spatial relations. So this spatial intelligence, it actually involves understanding and remembering the relative location of objects in mind. It could also be the 2D or 3D objects, which can be manipulated through mental movement, rotation, or transformation. The indicators of spatial intelligence are shown by persons who like to draw, doodle, or sketch, have a keen eye for detail, like to take things apart, like to build things, have a good sense of relating parts to the whole, enjoy puzzle or riddles, remember places by description or images, can also interpret maps, enjoy orienteering, mechanically adept. So what do you think some activities that might help to enhance this spatial intelligence? Okay, so we have illustrations, constructions, maps, paintings, drawings, mosaics, sketches, cartoons, sculptures, storyboards, and videotapes. So these activities are very helpful to enhance spatial intelligence. So there are some successful professions that have a high spatial intelligence, like the urban planners, the architects, the engineers, surveyors, explorers, navigators, mechanics, curators, map designers, fashion designers, florists, interior designers, visual artists, muralists, photographers, movie directors, set designers, chess players, and cartoonists are some of the persons who have a high spatial intelligence. The next MI or multiple intelligence that we're going to tackle is what we call the musical intelligence. So what is musical intelligence, by the way? So musical intelligence, guys, it is the ability to enjoy, perform, or compose a musical piece. So the very first thing that comes up to our mind are those who are song composers and singers. But not just that, musical intelligence, it is the persons who can produce and appreciate rhythm, pitch, and timbre, and appreciation of the forms of musical expressiveness. So the very first thing that we can help to enhance this kind of intelligence to our learners is by letting them play musical instruments is the best activity that will improve the kids' musical intelligence. So we have here some indicators of musical intelligence are shown by persons who have the sensitivity to sound patterns, hum or move rhythmically. They also capture the essence of a beat and adjust movement patterns according to changes. They have a good sense of pitch, hum tunes, can discriminate among sounds, play with sounds, remember tunes and sound patterns. So, who are those persons who succeed in the following occupation have high musical intelligence? Who do you think those persons who acquire this kind of intelligence or who have a high musical intelligence? So, composers, musicians, conductors, critics, opera artists, singers, rappers, instrument makers and players, sound recording artists. So, musical intelligence, guys, it is very easy to understand. So, I hope you get the point. Next is interpersonal intelligence. So, based on the pictures that is being shown, so what do you think is interpersonal intelligence? Okay, so interpersonal intelligence is the ability to understand and get along with others. So therefore, this interpersonal intelligence, you are able to understand and interact effectively with others. So this actually involves with effective verbal and non-verbal communication. You have the ability to note distinctions among others and have the sensitivity to the moods and temperaments of others and have the ability to entertain multiple perspectives. Interpersonal intelligence is actually matters on how good you are in your social skills. We have some indicators of this component of multiple intelligences. So try to check if you have this kind of component. So number one is you are able to demonstrate empathy towards others or feel so much for others. You are sensitive to the feelings of others. Act as mediator or counselor to others. Relate well to peers and adults alike, like to be with other people. Are admired by peers, make friends easily. Display skills of leadership. Work cooperatively with others. Enjoy cooperative and group activities. So, what are the types of activities that will develop your interpersonal intelligence? So, in classing, group project is very common. And also, we have here communication or social interaction, dialogues, conversations, debates, arguments, consensus, group work on murals and mosaics, round robins, games, challenges, and sports. People like teachers, social workers, doctors and nurses, anthropologists, counselors, priests or ministers, nuns, entrepreneurs, managers, politicians, salespersons, and tour guides. They are the persons who have a high interpersonal intelligence. The next multiple intelligence is the intrapersonal intelligence. So, the intrapersonal intelligence is the ability to gain access and to understand one's inner feelings, dreams, and ideas. So therefore, this intelligence involved in self-understanding and in reflecting upon oneself, one's skills, one's motives, and so forth. So why do you think intrapersonal intelligence matters? Intrapersonal skills will help you to continually reflect and evaluate your inner feelings. And through reflection, you will able to find ways to enrich both your personal and professional lives. This will help you or allows you to be better and regulate your own emotion and thought. Here are some indicators of this element of multiple intelligences are evidenced by people who are goal-oriented and develop plans carefully, are aware of their strengths and weaknesses, confident of their own abilities and accept their limitations, are self-regulating and self-directing, do not need to be told what to do. They motivate themselves to engage in projects. They work towards the achievements of one's goal. They express preferences for particular activities. They communicate their feelings. They engage in creative thinking, novel and original ideas. Keep hobbies, productive pursuits, and diaries. The activities that will enhance your intrapersonal intelligence will actually include insight and intuition building, creative and critical thinking, goal setting, reflection and self-meditation. Also, we have here self-assessment, the affirmation, keeping journals, logs and reflectionaries, I statements, the discussions, interpretations, and creative expressions of values, philosophical thoughts and ideas. And lastly, the quotations. When can we tell that this learner has a high intrapersonal intelligence? So you can tell if the students are self-motivated, they enjoy working independently, and they learn best when working alone. So these students are spend a lot of time in self-reflection and enjoy working on themselves. Last but not the least is the naturalist intelligence. So what is naturalist intelligence? It is actually the most recent addition to the original list of 7 multiple intelligences. The naturalist intelligence, guys, it refers to the person's ability to identify and classify patterns in nature. So therefore, they have the ability to identify and classify or manipulate elements of the environment, objects, animals, or plants. In prehistoric times, when peoples relied on hunting animals and gathering plants, naturalist intelligence was used to sort what animals and plants were edible or not. At present, a person uses his or her natural intelligence in the ways where he or she relates to the environment. A person who has naturalist intelligence abilities is likely to be sensitive to the changes in flora and fauna, weather patterns, and similar environmental factors. So, when can we say that a child has a naturalist intelligence? So, it can be stimulated in the classroom activities such as creation of habitats. The child is or show cares for animals and plants. They love collecting and classifying natural objects and organisms such as rocks and insects or snails.